Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we have Donny from FlightLine here with us, and he's going to tell us about his background and his history and why he's so passionate about the aviation industry and what FlightLine's about. Hey Donny, how are you?
Good. How are you, Daniel?
Great. I'll make mention of where you are. I really like the patriotism, the big flag behind your head. I was just mentioning the other day because I'm currently in the US, and I really like the fact that everybody here is patriot about where they're from in their country.
Yeah, no, this is cool. It's an office in San Francisco that I'm at, and the room is called the Cotton Room, which is basically a take on America and the Americana of different aspects that makes America great. And so that's why we have the flag here, and then we also have some pretty cool artifacts around the room that have sort of all the different things that make America unique.
Awesome. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight into it. So tell us your story, tell us your background and your history, all the way leading up to the starting of FlightLine.
Yeah, so my background is in ad tech and martech, and I've been in this industry. I've been doing that for about 10 years, and I've really been focused on working with Fortune 500 brand marketers to help build a one-to-one connection with their customers by using technology, most recently creative technology to do that, and to build this personalized dynamic message that is resonating with the person in the right place at the right time on the right device. And so how that transitions to aviation, I'm passionate about aviation. It's something I think about when I wake up in the morning. It's something I think about when I go to bed at night. I'm a commercial pilot myself. I've, been passionate about aviation ever since I was a 12-year-old when my grandfather took me to the Boeing factory in Everett, Washington. And I saw serial number 1 of the 777 come off the line destined for United Airlines. And that's, that's when I was hooked. These big, beautiful, huge machines that, weigh 1 million pounds can actually fly and stay in the air. That just boggled my mind. And so aviation's always been a passion of mine ever since. And I worked my way up to getting my commercial certificate and had that since 2006. So it's definitely a passion of mine. I knew at some point in my life that I wanted to make aviation a priority and build a business around a need. And that's sort of where FlightLine was born.
Awesome. So how did you find yourself in the platform industry and the aviation industry? You've got a passion for aviation. You're a pilot, but what do you like about the industry the most? And why did you start the company? What's the problem? What's the need?
Yeah, so platforms. I've been selling platforms my entire career. So selling technology is definitely a specialty of mine, but there hasn't really been a platform that existed in general aviation. General aviation is really focused on a lot of point solutions, and it's very much enthusiast driven, right? And so there's an aircraft manufacturer that we're going to be launching with, and one that we feel is going to help accelerate interest in general aviation. In fact, COVID has really accelerated the need for personal aviation. With people being distributed and moving out of, urban areas to more rural areas. There's over 5,000 airports in the US alone that are only serviced by, or only 8% of them are serviced by commercial airliners and air traffic. And so getting more utilization out of these airports and just the driving force behind people not wanting to be in an airport and go through TSA and get on an airplane with, 150 other people to get from point A to point B. Why can't we do this? And doing so, that's where the sort of the passion and the idea for FlightLine came about, is how do we democratize personal aviation? How do we make it more accessible for everyone? And so our tagline is personal aviation for everyone. So we're launching with an airplane called the Cirrus, which is the best-selling aircraft in the world. They delivered 600 aircraft this year. In fact, Boeing only delivered about 330 aircraft this year. So that gives you an idea of just sort of the scale. It sounds like a small number, but it's not. It's pretty a large number. And it's actually the airplane is in the highest demand of any airplane out there, more than Cessna, more than Diamond, more than even what folks might know as Pilatus and Gulfstream. I mean, it's in more demand than those airplanes, and they're delivering more airplanes than those manufacturers as well. So we're really hitching our wagon to a brand that's proven, a brand that is most desired, and also a brand that's expensive. I mean, a turbo model SR aircraft for Cirrus is about $1 million. It's not accessible for a lot of people. So we're democratizing this in a few ways. We're taking a two-pronged approach with our platform. We are working with plane owners that have purchased their own SR aircraft, that want to share the carrying costs and take an active role in the management of their airplane by making it available on our platform. So we're building basically a marketplace around that. And then second is we're totally reimagining and transforming the way co-ownership takes place within light aircraft. Yep. Co-ownership is widely available in the turboprop and light and business jet aircraft market, but it doesn't really exist for light aircraft. And the reason why is because it's never really been thought about in a different way, right? I mean, there's people that enter into co-ownership agreements on light aircraft, but those are sort of people where they have to find each other, right? And you maybe have to go to like some sort of trade website to find other people who are interested in buying an airplane. There's no marketplace that does that. And so we want to really focus on that. And with all the distributed people now, that people living all over the place, and COVID's really accelerated this, we feel like the time is now to make sure that we can solve this problem. So being able to get into $1 million aircraft for about 180,000 makes a lot of sense with a fifth ownership share. And FlightLine will basically form the LLC, we'll purchase the aircraft, we'll source all the individual buyers. And then once all those individual members are placed within that LLC, the LLC is actually, the aircraft's owned by that LLC, we'll slide out as program manager and take an annual management fee for that aircraft, which is $89.99 or 1% of the total asset value of that aircraft, but a minimum of $89.95 per month.
Yeah. Okay. So you've given us an idea on what the offering is
Yep.
in terms of the solution. So it's a marketplace. It's also a co-purchasing platform connecting buyers.
Think Turo meets Picasso, right? Everyone knows that Turo is the car sharing service for high-end vehicles, right? So we want to share airplanes with qualified pilots who can fly these airplanes. But then the co-ownership piece is like Picasso, which is second home ownership. It's basically being able to purchase an aircraft with
Mm-hmm.
other people, and you don't have to be your own pilot. You can designate a professional pilot to fly your airplane. So that avoids some of the pitfalls of other entrants that have tried to do this in the past, where it might not be their aircraft and they hire a pilot to fly them, and that then puts you into another bracket of what the FAA calls 135 operations, which has a whole another set of regulations. We're operating under the confines of any investor who understands what we're operating in. It's Part 91, which is basically just general aviation, general requirements. And so an owner basically choosing a designated pilot to fly his airplane for him on his behalf.
Okay. And then the marketplace side is that, connecting passengers with these aircrafts and pilots?
Nope. So there's no passengers involved with this. This is an owner management platform, right? So it's an active ownership management platform. So, once we start getting into passengers, then we get into other regulations that the FAA rules as, it becomes a nightmare between, how you're operating the aircraft under 135, or it becomes a nightmare under, is this an insurable aircraft,
Yes.
So we're wholly focused on the owner flown market, where those owners are flying these aircraft. So for the rental side, it's like a qualified pilot renting directly from an owner, and the owner taking an active management role in the aircraft. Section 179 of the tax code in the US allows owners to take double depreciation if there's an active role in the management of their airplane. We're helping them give them that, right? Not everyone will qualify for Section 179 double depreciation, but or bonus depreciation, not double depreciation, bonus depreciation. But if you do, you can use this platform for that. On the other hand, for co-ownership, now anyone who's interested in owning or buying an airplane, if they don't have a pilot's license that they can fly themselves, they can designate a professional pilot to fly their airplane for them. But they can still own up to a fifth or up to a half share of that aircraft on the FlightLine platform.
Okay, awesome. So that gives us a really good understanding of the solution. Tell us about the team. How did the team come together? Who are the team behind this?
It's a great question. So my business partner, our CTO, is a technologist, background in, he was an early team at Zendesk, early team at Beats, early team at NerdWallet. So he's got a very extensive background, great guy. And we actually met up through a buddy of mine. So in 2017, I was looking at, I was working with another buddy of mine. And we were trying to do a sort of a rideshare aggregator. We ended up getting shot down by Uber because Uber didn't want any competitors. So we were trying to aggregate all the different rideshare networks onto one platform. So building a marketplace to sort of democratize, everyone back in 2017, 2016 was always flipping between Uber app and Lyft app to see which one was cheaper. No one cared how they got from point A to point B. They just want to make sure they weren't getting killed by surge pricing. So we were trying to democratize that. And it didn't work out. We got shut down by Uber. So you live and learn, right? I mean, it was my first attempt at starting my own business. And through that whole process, I had met Stan, who's my business partner today. We were actually just thinking about different businesses. He wanted to start something. I obviously want to start something. I'm not a technologist. I can't build anything, but I'm a sales guy, and I'm a business. I can cover the business end of that side. I'm a sales founder, I guess. And he's a technical founder. And so it was a good match made in heaven. So we were actually thinking about different blockchain businesses back in 2017 when blockchain was just really becoming sort of mainstream. And it was funny. We were getting lunch and having a salad, and an airplane flew overhead. We were sitting in the city outside. We both looked up, and my buddy, or Stan, said, "Do you fly?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you fly?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "What are we doing? Let's think about business we can solve in aviation." So, another buddy of mine had started a company called Blackbird, which didn't really have the right model going to market. And so, I was really trying to think about areas where we could do this, because we're in a highly regulated industry. Healthcare and aviation are highly regulated. But how do you do this the right way? And we thought of a solution that we could do this the right way. And we've basically formed partnerships with the best in the business, right? I mean, we've built a turnkey business. It's ready to go. We have a beta product. We have two leading FAA attorneys. In fact, one of our FAA attorneys is the president of COPA, the Cirrus Owners and Pilots Association. So we want to make sure we're doing this the right way and approaching this in a way that insurance companies understand what we're doing, because that's a big component of what we're doing, to be able to get insured. And then also from an FAA standpoint, are we doing this legally? And so that's what we wanted to make sure we were solving before and through doing our due diligence of like perfecting our model. And along the way, we pivoted 2 or 3 times in terms of our go-to-market strategy. But we feel like this go-to-market strategy, and the timing is now, is the perfect recipe for success.
Yep. Okay. So you understand the industry, better than most. You understand the clients better than most because you're part of that group.
Yeah, totally.
Tell us about the partners. Obviously, Cirrus. But who else are you bringing in? And are there other features of the platform, like you said, insurance and brokerage and financing and things like that? Is that what you're bringing into the mix as well?
Yeah. So we basically, what we've done, and through the last, we actually registered this business in 2019, and then COVID hit, and so things sort of slowed down, and I wasn't able to get out there and meet the right people that I needed to know. And so 2021 was really the year that we really got out there and were able to make the connections with the people we wanted to meet and needed to meet. So that's been really what 2021 was all about. It's about building, iterating, and meeting the right people to make sure that when we're ready to launch and go and raise money for this, that we're ready to go. Like we are like literally hitting the ground running and working our butt off to meet the pretty lofty goals that we've set for ourselves. And so through 2021, we actually met with the head of sales for North America at Cirrus, and sort of really worked with him to understand, like, is there a need in the market for this? And in fact, one of the sales directors locally here in the Bay Area in San Francisco says she gets 2 calls per week to ask if there's anyone interested in buying an airplane with them. Because these airplanes have $1 million price tag, average cost of the Cirrus about $850,000. But since these airplanes have a high price tag, people are looking for other people to buy them with, right? Because sharing the carrying cost, I mean, the operational costs the fixed and variable costs are, $50,000-$60,000 a year. So, it's been an industry that's only been accessible to the very wealthy. And so what we're trying to do is democratize that. And they see us being a partner for them, and really helping them sort of help them sell more airplanes, right? I mean, they're in the business of selling airplanes. We're in the business of finding people to help them sell more airplanes too. I come from 5 generations of car dealers. So the car business is deep in my blood. And so obviously selling airplanes or focusing on an area where we can help sell more airplanes is something that's kind of sort of also near and dear to my heart for just kind of in a random way. But so we've been able to do that. So we formed relationships with the Cirrus sales teams. So they know who we are. They're ready to rock and roll with us. We've made partnerships with insurance companies. So Star and Great American are 2 leading aviation underwriters in the insurance business for aviation. We have one of the leading insurance brokers working with us. They're called Wings Insurance, and they're basically the preferred partner for Cirrus. So they're our partner in helping us secure insurance. Again, we have 2 leading FAA attorneys that are working with us. One is the president of the Cirrus Owners and Pilots Association. And also, what else? Who else do we have? Obviously, we have a beta product as well. But no, I mean, I think we've aligned with the people we need to align with. Oh, and also, very important, safety and transparency, right? We've partnered with. We're only going to partner with what they call Cirrus standardized instructor pilots to be able to operate on the platform, and these are actually vetted flight trainers that can only train in Cirrus Aircraft, and those are the people that will be on the platform as well. So when you look at our product, everyone will have a profile. Cirrus trainers will have a profile, pilots will have a profile, and plane owners will have a profile. So there's complete transparency about what's happening through the value chain on the platform. And so we're in the process of launching 9 beta aircraft on the platform that our safety advisor, his name is Elliot Flores. He's a big name in the Cirrus community up in Northern California, and he manages these airplanes. And some of the owners we've talked to, we did an alpha launch at the Cirrus Owners and Pilots Association, their annual meeting in Scottsdale in September of last year. And one of the resounding themes is, I'm an owner, I buy $1 million asset, and the only way for me to share the carrying cost of that asset is to put it on the FlightLine at a flight school and take a non-active participation in the rental of my airplane. One of the owners down in LA is a surgeon. He came to me and said, my airplane, it's only a year old, and I get in it, the cup holder's broken, and there's coffee stains on my carpet. He's flying, that's an $850,000 aircraft. He has zero control or visibility into who's flying his airplane. With the FlightLine platform, we changed that. We give them full control into who's flying the airplane. They have to take pictures. There's a digital record of everything happening with that airplane, so that the owners have peace of mind knowing that they're renting to qualified people. And if the owners don't want to just rent to anybody, they can also create private marketplaces on the platform as well, where they only rent to a curated group of people that they've hand selected to fly their airplane, which is why those 9 airplanes are coming online and beta testing us now, because there's 9 owners up in this Northern California area that our safety advisor manages the airplanes on their behalf. And those are guys that don't want their airplane on the FlightLine at a flight school because they don't want just anyone flying it. They want to be able to select the people that fly their planes, so they have more control.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. So you've done a lot in the last few years, and you've sort of aligned yourself with the right partners, the right industry participants, and it sounds like you're getting good feedback from the people who are involved in this space.
Yep.
Tell us more about the market itself. Tell us about, globally. You said there's 5,000 regional airports or 5,000 airports in the US, and Cirrus is the best-selling aircraft. But what does it look globally?
So yeah, I mean, it's aviation in general aviation is a $2.7 trillion business globally. It's a $259 billion business in the US. If we can just capture a very small portion of that, I mean, we are off to the races. And I feel like we can do that. I mean, with our business model. I think that, like I said, post-COVID coming out, just interest in general aviation and in personal aviation for that matter. I like to use that word better. I think personal aviation has a better ring to it. people interested in personal aviation, taking control of their own lives. And just like I said, this year is the 60th anniversary of the Jetsons, right? I feel like we're all going to be George Jetson by the end of the decade. And I think personal aviation is really taking off in that regard. And so, it's almost green fields, right? I mean, the addressable market, if you look at the numbers today, they would be small from any investor standpoint in their viewpoint. But what we're doing by democratizing access is we're creating a new market. I mean, we're creating a new category for this market, right? And we're expanding their addressable market. There's a lot of enthusiast point solutions that exist in general aviation today. Like there's a point solution for maintenance, there's a point solution for enthusiast rentals, right? But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a lifestyle brand that tags on and hitches our wagon to Cirrus, which is building a lifestyle aircraft manufacturing brand to extend that out and then help them sell more airplanes. And then once we perfected our model, we open it up to other high demand manufacturers like Pilatus, which is very high demand. It's a turboprop aircraft that single pilot operated. Many people want one. Many people want to buy one, but they're $5 million, right? So by having a co-ownership platform to be able to help people, share the cost of these aircraft, it makes it more accessible, right? We're not talking about, anyone can afford it, but at the end of the day, we're moving towards an all electric future, and electric will absolutely lower the barriers and the cost of flying. And with all the different technologies, with parachute technology, with avionics technology, with, Cirrus has it's called a home safe button, where basically you push the button if the pilot's incapacitated, the plane lands itself and everyone's safe and goes home that night. All that technology is going to enter into all other types of aircraft. And once we get there, like I said, I'm confident that we will all be like George Jetson by the end of the decade, if not the next decade. So what we want to do is we're positioning ourselves to be able to capture that market and those dollars that come with it.
Awesome. So let's get to the good part. Tell us about the raise. How much you're raising, what's it being used for, what's the offer, and what's the momentum you've had so far?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the raise, we're raising $3 million. Anything less than that, I don't think is going to help us move the needle. Silicon Valley Bank is going to be our partner for financing, and in order to get back end financing for these owners, we'd have to raise at least that, right, for them to look at us. And so it's almost a requirement for Silicon Valley Bank in order to do that. For back end financing for the owners, it's called CapEx financing. And so we're also raising a line of credit as well for purchasing of the aircraft. So this equity financing that's only going to be used towards operations of the business and not towards the financing pieces of the business will allow us to secure those two, the line of credit and the back end financing, but also it's to build out our product pipeline, right? Go to market with the different tools and features that we want to build. I mean, I have grand visions of, the sort of democratizing the insurance landscape of general aviation, because we're going to basically, the FAA has standards, and then FlightLine has standards. We're going to take it up a notch in terms of what we require of our pilots to be proficient, and we want to be able to mitigate as much risk as possible with this platform. So we're with our safety advisor, who is Elliot Flores, like I said, we're putting in safety standards that go above and beyond what the insurance companies require. So how do we democratize insurance? How do we democratize financing? Those are different areas that I think we could grow into. But in terms of what the $3 million will be used for, operations, legal requirements, most of our legal stuff is done. We already have a dry lease agreement done. We have 2 operating agreements done. Our terms and our privacy policies have been done. So a lot of our legal stuff is out of the way. What the money will be used for is to form LLCs for the aircraft to be put into, and any sort of legal work that's involved with that. So a lot of the operational things that go into getting this business going, hiring. We were looking to hire a sales development rep to help us source deals. A lot of it's going to go towards marketing, because FlightLine at the end of the day is a marketing platform, and that's my specialty. I've been in ad tech my entire career, so we are a marketing platform. We're marketing the fact that now people can, buy a 5th share interest in a Cirrus, or a way, now qualified pilots can rent directly from owners, and owners can, make their plane available for rent to qualified pilots. And so at the end of the day, we're a marketing platform. So the money will be used towards marketing. legal and operations,
Okay.
and hiring as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Hiring is the most important thing. We got to find the right people.
Yeah. And in terms of the raise, what's the momentum you've had so far?
So we're having great conversations. We're in a very unique business. General aviation is sort of a hard business for a lot of investors to understand, and we're wholly focused on talking to investors who understand aviation and want to get involved in an emerging space that's sort of been nascent to a lot of investors, because there's not a lot of people who really understand the rules and regulations that are involved in aviation. But we're looking for an investor who is eager to help transform this very emerging way of travel. I mean, it's like, I think personal aviation is taking off, and so we're looking for an investor that is really interested in helping us do that.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, I mean, you've given us a good understanding of the space, your background, your passion for the industry, and you're clearly very knowledgeable about the insights and the rules and regulations. So I think what you're trying to do, and it is a niche space, but it's a very large, and the numbers you were saying
it's a big opportunity. Yeah. There's a big opportunity here. I mean, there's a massive opportunity. I mean, it's untapped and it's unrealized, and it's one of those things where you can't see it until you're in it, right? Yeah. And once you're in it, you can see that there's so much demand. I mean, for example, Cirrus Aircraft sold 600 airplanes this year, right? They have a backlog for their Cirrus jet for 3 years. So that tells me that there's so much interest out there. And just one last tidbit. So I mentioned this doctor down in LA who had his airplane, who had coffee stains on his carpet. He has a position to take a Cirrus jet in Q4 of 2022, right? Transitioning the way Cirrus built their platform, transition from the turbo piston aircraft to their jet is how they designed their Cirrus jet. But their piston turbo airplane is $1 million, and their Cirrus jet is $2.7 million. It's 3 times more expensive. So their addressable market has now shrunk, because jumping from that airplane to the jet is almost inconceivable for a lot of people. That's really where our power comes into play, and that's where the owner, or the doctor in LA, has said, "Hey, would you guys be willing to take some of my position?" And we said, "Yeah, we'll absolutely take some of that position, and we'll sell off those other 2 shares to make it attainable for you." Because now he's almost now moving across the board, $1 million to $1 million versus $1 million to $3 million. Yeah. So helping expand the addressable market is what's really important. So it's almost a market that's sort of hasn't been realized yet, but we're getting there once you're in it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I mean, this gives us a really good overview onto FlightLine, what you're doing, the industry. So thanks for jumping on. We'll wrap it up there. My team and I will send this out to the people in our network. I mean, even if you're not a passionate aviation supporter or fan, just the numbers alone and the niche and the way that you've integrated yourself into the industry makes a lot of sense. It's the numbers that you're saying make it a big business for even if it's a small niche. Now, Cirrus, if they sell 600 jets a year at $1 million a piece, that's at base minimum $600 million, right? 600 jets a year is, if they're paying, your fees or utilizing your platform, that's a decent market to tap into.
If we could just capture 10% over the next 5 years, our run rate's $65 million.
Yeah, and that's the very appealing part of it.
Right. And so, that's just with the piston aircraft. That's only with the $1 million airplane. Now, when we start selling the $3 million airplane, we could get well over to $100 million if we can scale fast enough. And the way for us to scale is to bring on the investments we need and be able to execute on our mission. And we're wholly focused on that mission. And this is something I think we can really tap into. Sounds niche, but it can be a very lucrative business, because you got a very, very passionate, buyer and user base, right? The lifetime value for these users is incredible, because a lot of these people, this is this is a passion for them, but it's also a lifestyle. And so, you know, they're buying into a lifestyle that they want to be able to obtain as long as they can, right? So.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thanks for jumping on and discussing this with us. If anybody's viewing this wants to know more, I'll put our details here, and I can connect you straight to Donny and the FlightLine team. But thanks for jumping on. It's been great chatting, and I now know a lot more about the personal aviation industry.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.